Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you could join us this evening for our program, Art History, Language of Color. This program is part of our summer reading series this summer, and we are so excited that we have all of our great community partners who help us out with these programs. So we're very excited that they were able to support us again this summer, and we're going to do some introductions now. My name is Lisa. I'm with the Tampa Hillsborough County Public Library, and I'm joined by my friend Vera here, who is going to teach our programs today. Ms. Vera, thank you so much for joining us. This is a very exciting topic. I love this topic. I am going to hand things over to Ms. Vera, who's going to share her screen and her program, but I'll be here in the background to help you answer your questions and get them ready for the Q&A. So get those questions typing.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Vera. So today we are going to learn about the Blue Rider and Sound of Color. Unfortunately, I cannot see you, but I will appreciate if you post any comments in the chat box, then I will feel that I'm not alone talking to the camera by myself. So before we get started, let me tell you where we are going to travel today. So today we are going to travel to Western Europe, Germany. You can see on the screen the red arrow. It's a Germany. So we will focus in Germany today. Let me introduce to you artist Vasily Kandinsky. You might heard about him. So Vasily Kandinsky was born in Moscow, Russia in 1866. When he was 30 years old, he immigrated to Germany. A few years later, Kandinsky organized the Blue Rider exhibitions with his fellow artist, Franz Marc, and published his influential book concerning the spiritual and art. The main goal of the Blue Rider group was to bring together the work of artists who give expression to the spiritual dimension. For members of the group, art was the bridge into the realm of spirit. So you might wonder, why does it call Blue Rider, right? So I guess you're shaking your head. So I will tell you why does it call Blue Rider. So the name of the group was associated with the early German romantic motif of the blue flower, which means the deeper spiritual meaning. And symbolism of the rider was associated with the medieval knights and horsemen of Russian Orthodox Christianity. I prepared for you a video with a brief history of the Blue Rider. Please enjoy. And Lisa, let me know if the sound and video don't go through.
Sure.
Thank you.
Art. Where should we begin? Take a guess at how long humans have been creating art. Can you believe that this cave painting was created nearly 40,000 years ago? Humans have been painting before they could even do math, read, or write. Creating art was and still is one of the strongest human impulses. But now let's move a bit closer to today and find out what was happening. Just 100 years ago, one of the most intensely creative periods of our time began. Now keep in mind that artists had moved beyond cave paintings by this point. They sculpted and painted with extremely realistic detail. Take a look at Michelangelo's David and Da Vinci's Mona Lisa. But many artists during the early 1900s wanted to do something different. They didn't want to just paint or sculpt perfectly realistic images. They wanted to express how they felt, and they wanted us to feel the emotions they were trying to express. One group of artists, the Blue Riders, came together in Germany to create a new standard in art. Art was to come from within the artist, rather than from the external world. The Blue Riders were part of an art movement called German Expressionism. These blue riders rebelled against the way art was normally created. They expressed feelings and abstract ideas, paving the way for abstract art. But before we talk more about these blue riders, let's pause for a minute to understand what we really mean when we say abstract art. Something that's abstract refers to an idea or feeling, rather than a concrete object, like a rock or a tree. For example, we feel love, but we can't really draw a realistic image of love. We have, however, learned a symbol for love, the shape of a heart. But keep in mind, someone first drew this symbol, and then they assigned the meaning for the symbol. It's just been so used that now, when we draw the abstract idea of love, we draw a heart. We might even paint it red for romance, or yellow for friendship, to further express how we feel. But now let's get back to these blue riders. What abstract ideas did they express? The blue riders were trying to express something spiritual in their art, something beyond reality and life as we know it. Blue represented a spiritual color, and the action of riding a horse signified that they were riding beyond realistic ways of making art. The founders of the Blue Rider group were Vasily Kandinsky and Franz Marc. Marc used color to express emotion in his paintings. He came closer to something spiritual in nature by painting animals rather than humans. Franz used color symbolism in his work. Here, in his yellow cow, yellow is feminine, gentle, and cheerful. Kandinsky expressed something spiritual he felt when he listened to music or focused on the sounds of words. He even decided to abandon drawing any recognizable images at all to make truly abstract art. In his composition 6, Kandinsky repeated the word Überflut over and over like a mantra while he was painting. Repeating this word released him from an artistic block, as he was able to focus on the music of the word, finishing his composition 6 in just 3 short days. But what else was going on in the world during this time that could have influenced the Blue Riders? There were revolutions and assassinations from Russia to China. And even here in the United States, President McKinley was assassinated in 1901. And then, in 1914, World War I broke out. The Blue Riders disbanded. Franz Marc would die in battle, and Kandinsky would have to return to war-torn Russia. It almost seemed like the Blue Riders were predicting that we needed to think more about life beyond the physical world, something more spiritual. While the Blue Rider group ended in 1914, and Franz Marc, having died in battle, would never create art again, Kandinsky was only starting his art career, and would later reappear as one of the most prominent artists in history.
So now let us see the colors by focusing on feelings and what color can express to us directly through the form. On the left side, you see the painting by Franz Marc, The Tower of Blue Horses. Franz Marc painted animals to explore his own feelings and emotions as the key to access spiritual realm. His depiction of animals was his idea to achieve pantheistic identification with the natural world. What do I mean by saying pantheistic identification? In other words, that idea that God is everywhere with the forces and laws of the universe. So in the middle of the screen, you see the Blue Rider by the painting executed by Vasily Kandinsky represents the horse and the rider as the main subject of the painting. The blue color of the rider was a spiritual symbol for the artist. Kandinsky wrote that artists receive impressions from the external appearance and accumulate it with artists' own inner world. So for Kandinsky, the goal was to depict experiences through form and color to express the spiritual dimension. And lastly, on the right side, you see a painting by Gabriele Münter. She was a student of Vasily Kandinsky, and also she was a member of the Blue Rider. So in the middle of the paintings, you see She painted Vasily Kandinsky. He's standing in the middle of the boat and facing directly the viewer. And here we also see how many different shades of blue within the painting as a symbol of spirituality. So now, what about colors? Why colors has their own mysterious life? So Vasily Kandinsky in his book extensively wrote about color theory. So for example, I briefly just mentioned a few colors. For example, yellow for him represented warm, cheeky, and exciting color. For example, blue, which was one of his favorite color, blue, it represents spirituality, inner, peaceful, deep, typical heavenly color as we would consider. Green, for example, which is mix of yellow and blue, represents stillness, peace, and strength. And red, for example, very bright red, represents aliveness, restless, confidently striving towards goal. So if you're interested to explore color theory by Vasily Kandinsky, I highly suggest his book concerning the spiritual and art. You can find on Amazon. It's a very interesting book in terms of the color theory. So what about sound of colors? You probably heard in the video they talk about music and colors, right? Yeah, I guess you're shaking your head too. So now let me introduce synesthesia. Some of art historians suggest that Kandinsky had synesthesia. He had one of type of synesthesia, which was sound color. So what does it mean, synesthesia? So synesthesia is a neurological phenomenon in which two or more senses are connected to each other. So for example, Kandinsky had sound color synesthesia. So there are many types of synesthesia. So he could see music as colors and vice versa. It's very fascinating. And I think, if I'm not wrong, according to data, it is just 4% of population has sound color synesthesia. So now I invite you to listen to a painting. Are you ready? Sit comfortably and let us listen to the painting.
So we must be at Mr. Kandinsky's studio.
Yes, you are. I see my little music friend brought you. I am Vasily Kandinsky.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Dada.
I brought them to meet you. Welcome, Matty, and welcome, Dada. I hope the musical man hasn't been too mischievous. But he is very musical, you know. Show them, musical man.
Dada, wow, zow!
Bravo, musical man!
Now, what can I do for my two visitors?
The musical man said you might know why my music turned into red blobs.
Oh, yes, musical man. Let's listen to a painting.
There's nothing on the canvas.
Paintings are musical too. Ready, musical man? Let's listen to the painting.
Nice colors. And there's a horse with a blue rider on it.
And maybe another horse, also with a rider on it.
And there's two people on a bench. Maybe it's a horse race, and they're watching it.
Or maybe it's two people riding horses through a park.
Each musical instrument made me think of a different color. Musical man will help us, and I will demonstrate. Do you play music, Matty? Would you like to help?
Yes, please.
No.
Look, Dada. The trumpet makes yellow sounds.
They're all different.
That's exactly right.
The accordion makes blue sounds. The violin makes green sounds. Wow!
And we know the saxophone makes red sounds.
And this horn makes purple.
So the feeling that makes a painting is a lot like the feeling that makes music?
And just like a painting is made up of different colors, a symphony or a song is made up of different musical instruments and notes.
So it can be music that is full of colors, or a painting with all its colors and shapes that is full of music.
That is what I tried to do with some of my paintings. Show them, musical men.
Cool! I see the music!
And we hear the colors.
Ooh, fantastic! They're going back into the painting!
It's fun. We're listening to a painting. Thanks, Mr. Kandinsky. Thanks, Musical Man. Thanks for the musical colors.
And the colorful music!
Goodbye, Matey. Goodbye, Dada. Come visit us again soon. Stay out of mischief, musical man.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and now you know a little bit more about one type of synesthesia, which is hearing the colors and see the colors while listening to music. If you're interested to learn more about it, I will send the link at the end of my presentation in the chat box of the TED Talk of how synesthesia can change our thinking. So now I would like to conclude that work of the artist, the members of the Blue Rider group established by Vasily Kandinsky and Franz Marc, was interesting in experimentation and spiritual expression. They seek forms which should depict spiritual dimension, the spiritual side of nature. Now it is our perception to see artist expression through form and color. And lastly, today we learned that for Kandinsky, each color has its unique sound and vice versa. As Kandinsky said, that the more abstract the form, the more clear and direct its appeal. That is why music was significant to the artist, where music is the expression of the artist's soul. Music as abstract, and this is what Kandinsky was aiming for in his paintings, is to express his soul through form and color. For him, each color has sensation, feeling, and sound. So next time, when you go to any exhibition or you encounter any paintings, ask yourself how it sounds like. And also, this is just for you. If you want to do it just for your extra time, you can draw anything you feel by using colors while listening to any of your favorite pieces of music, just at home when you have time. Because remember, everything starts from a dot. And also, before finish, I would like to show you my painting. I painted this by listening to one of my favorite pieces of music, and this painting calls The Sound of Mediterranean. So that's how I created, by listening one of the pieces of classical music I like. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much for your time. And please feel free to ask me any questions. and have a great rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Vera. That was so much fun. You know what? I was looking at all the beautiful paintings and I loved the music going with them. And I noticed that a lot of the paintings that we looked at had a lot of like the primary colors.
Yes.
So I don't know. Do you think that is there a connection between all these different abstract artists using all of these primary colors? Do you think that was related to maybe how they saw the colors with the emotions that they maybe had? Because these are colors like I think of like when we are young and in school and playing with colors.
Yes, I've noticed that too. And Franz Marc and Vasily Kandinsky, mostly they use primary colors. And because blue was favorite color of Vasily Kandinsky, and he also extensively talked about colors and what they represent in terms of feelings and his color theory.
So maybe in the pictures, it was an easy way to map directly the feelings he was expressing to the colors in the pictures. So maybe make it almost like a key for his art.
Yes.
Okay, that is very interesting. I like that. I also noticed that we have a lot of these primary colors in our summer reading color theme here. A lot of these bold colors. So if you at home want to learn more about colors in art and making art, we picked out a couple of ebooks here that you can check out through Hoopla. You remember with Hoopla, you log in with your library card and there is no waiting. If you find it on there, you can check it out right away. So we picked Colors in Art by Sabrina Hahn and Art in Color by Marisi Shu. So check those out. If you end up making any fantastic works of art, we would love to see them. You can always share your creations in your library programs that you enjoyed with us at hcplc.org/stories. We always love to hear what you've done with those. So let us know, send us a picture. You might see those on our social media at some point. And if you have any questions for us, you can always reach out at hcplc.org/contact or give us a call 813-273-3652. So I've got Miss Vera's contact information up on the screen as well. So if you're watching this and you're like, I have a big question about art, and maybe you weren't able to ask it during the live program, but you have a big question in big capital letters about art and colors and these feelings and Kandinsky, you can reach out to Miss Vera right there at her email address. Miss Vera, anything else that we should be thinking about when we explore art and color and maybe synesthesia? Are there any other famous artists that we might think of that might have used synesthesia with their art to express themselves?
Yeah, I cannot say it on top of my head, but I know in literature, for example, I think Nabokov has different type of synesthesia. I think there's 46 types of synesthesia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's 46, and one of them was sound color, which art historians suggest that Kandinsky had that type of synesthesia, which is sound of color. But I don't remember top of my head any other names of artists who probably had that. I cannot look it up, but I know in literature some of the writers they had.
Yeah. Brains are amazing and they come in all different kinds of brain configurations, and look at some of the wonderful things that we can do with that. That's very cool, Miss Vera. Thank you so much for introducing us to this topic. It was wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Liz. And also posted in the chat about synesthesia. If somebody wants to learn more about it, yes.
Perfect. We will add that to our links. And if you want to see any more of our summer programs coming up, hcplc.org/summer. We've got just a few more days of summer reading left, so make sure you log those minutes and books and find more virtual programs at hcplc.org/events. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next time. Good night, everyone. Bye, Ms. Vera.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Lisa. Thank you.